Priyanka. So Puneet is my fantastic scholar. He's um, very, very good. He's got copyrights to his name. He's done very good research. He's थोड़ा सा slow because we have started. ठीक है. I'm just muting myself.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Should I, should I start the conference, sir?
Yes, Vaibhav, please proceed.
Good morning, everyone. I'm your Master of Ceremony, Vaibhav Pandari. Welcome to a distinguished international conference on emerging technology. It's on Engineering and Management 2023. Here we embark on an insightful journey addressing the forefront issues in the realms of engineering, technology, and computation, automation, and knowledge management. This conference stands as a beacon of collaboration, bringing together a vibrant community of researchers and practitioners and their shared ambitions to elevate the tools and techniques within our fields, creating a synergy of knowledge and practice. Our mission transcends the boundaries of traditional academia, fostering a dynamic bridge that links scholarly research with industry innovation. At the heart of the conference are our plenary talks, meticulously curated paper presentations, and engaging discussions, all orbiting around pivotal themes. This conference is a nexus of minds, where technology pioneers and visionary leaders converge to push the boundaries of practical application and interdisciplinary exchange. We are not just sharing ideas, we are sculpting the future of technology and management. Join us in the grand endeavor where your voice and contributions will help to shape an exciting technology driven tomorrow. Now, I would like to introduce our session chairs. Professor P.K. Kapoor is our chair one. Professor P.K. Kapoor is currently director of Amity Center for Interdisciplinary Research, Amity University, Noida. He has been the former dean of the Faculty of Mathematical Science and former head of the Department of Operational Research, University of Delhi. His vast research experience in the areas of software reliability, optimization, innovation diffusion modeling in marketing, and multi-criteria decision-making as a tool for interdisciplinary research in human resource development, HRD, marketing of brands, big data project adoption, and areas of management is phenomenally illustrated through his work over his over 50 PhD and 25 MPhil scholars. Now we would like to introduce Chair 2. Chair 2 is a Dr. Ravneet Singh Bhandari. Dr. Ravneet Singh Bhandari is an international author and has worked with indigenous university, scholars, and communities around the globe in his entire career. He has had been senior faculty member in Department of Marketing of at the Amity University, Chandigarh University, and Institute of Management Studies, where he helped develop and launch and teach the various digital marketing programs. Dr. Ravneet is currently Director Education at All India Startup and Entrepreneur Associations. His areas of expertise include digital marketing, social media marketing, and SEO. Besides his academic duties, Ravneet is serving as freelancer to his various clients for online marketing expertise. Ravneet serves as review board of the various Scopus Index ABDC listed journals and has published over 30 articles in Scopus Indexed, ABDC listed, and Web of Science Index academic journals, and authored a book on PPC strategies by Lambert Publication. He regularly conducts research paper reviews various publishers. His current research activities are varied and include works on determinants of digital marketing.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Vaibhav, for the kind words. Now we can start with the presentations.
Yes, sir.
yeah. First,
Thank,
my name is Puneet, I think.
thank you, all the members. So today, uh, I will list all the rules of the presentation, and I will start with the rules. So the 20 speakers will present their groundbreaking research in engineering and technology management, and each will have 8 minutes for their talk. After which, I will send a notification to wind up, leading into a 2 minute question and answer session. This
Okay.
online format ensures a focused, interactive exchange of innovative ideas.
Dime कैसे नहीं हमका
Now we will be starting with our first research paper. Paper title time slot is 1. Mr. Puneet Bhatnagar.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen now. Give me a minute. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Great. So the topic for my research paper is the a study of neobanking online customer experience, helping in driving net promoter scores. Very important topic because as part of the banking industry, I focus on the neobanks in India. These neobanks, especially, is very prominent if you look at in United Kingdom, where uh, Monzos, N24, these are the primary banks. The basic concept of any neobank is digitalization, where they want to work touchless. They do not want to have any branches. They don't want to have a human face. Everything is automated, and this is where the current digitalization is happening in India, where companies, banks, entrepreneurs, the fintechs, everybody is focusing on digitalization, and that is the biggest challenge right now, which all the banks are facing, where 81% of the large banks put customer centricity as top priority. One of two, every executive believe that they don't have mature capability to support their customer strategies. In customers need 59% are need real-time processing, and they need look at their portfolio visualize. And this is the new culture of Gen Y and Gen Z. Financial sector has always adopted new technologies. Again, has multiple reasons to it. One, the cybersecurity and the customer base they support, the technology always be their priority. Now they're focusing on cloud computing, blockchain, AI, machine learning, and big data analytics. What is fintech? Again, fintech is financial technologies, but technology is the basic core of their work, and the core of work they want to the focus is primarily on the digital customer experience. In India, we have just to give you a global insight, we have 500 billions of fintechs, 500 plus new fintechs are created every year. 2 billion unbanked people could address through mobile phones using fintech services, and many more. What is neobank? Neobank, the concept, these are typically fintech firms that exist solely online and provide digital financial solutions. They provide online facilities like payments, money transfer, lending. They can be a bank which can provide all the services. They can also be individual who providing just the payment services. For an example, in our case, Paytm, they are data-driven decision-making process, and the benefit is like contactless banking, customer-centric focus, immediate services, and support the bigger economy. Traditional banking versus neobank, again, physical banking, they have been there for 100 years, long term in person, high complex, banking license, they need banking licenses. Where in neobank, it's completely web, available on online. Uh, the age is 10 years, just new banking which just started. And again, there is no licensing requirement and you can get everything instantly. Neobank is ever evolving, and there are multiple definitions to it. But basis on the literature, identified that neobanks were earlier defined as a bank with seamless online functionality that can directly interact with customers, but without a physical presence. And this definition has been evolved as they try to differentiate themselves in the online service brick and mortar banks. Evolution of global neobanks, again, this is the current status where the bank X, Y, and Z are what they're doing is either the bank is opting a neo banking of sorry, they have their own neo banks, or they are working with the other companies with the neo banks with a collaboration. The global digital bank and VC fundings have been increasing, and this is where the opportunities are. In India, we have neo banks like Razorpay, 811, the India Post, Finan, Fino Open, IFI, Geo Payments, Yoda, SBI. These are very commonly used neobank services. Yes, they are part of a bank, a larger bank, but they work professionally as they are designated as neobanks by the RBI, Reserve Bank of India. You know, Again, this is concept which is very famous in UK, where you have Revolt, Monzo, Atabank, Starling. In Europe, you have Hype, Nomo, Nickel, Asia Pacific, you have Timo, WeBank, and many other in other countries. As for the Medi Research Neobanks funding analysis, it is a little old. I don't have the refresh one, but the growth of neobank is increasing about $103 billion year on a year. And again, there are type of neobanks which typically works like a neobank and also challenger banks. And neobanks which thrive by disrupting banking system. They not only support the retail customer, but the business B2B side as the D2C side also. With a customer-centric digital offering, again, that focuses diversified financial product, digital onboarding, digital servicing, focus segments, partnership, licensing, and regulations. And these are also supported with ongoing digital banks supporting the channels, product feature, platforms, and all the other services. Moving on, again, the India concept, again, we have retail lending, SME lending, payments, wealth management, insurance. We also have neobanks and the fintech, infra and others. Our focus for this study has been neobanks. And in the next slides, I will share why we are doing that. ENY Global Fintech Services adoption has shown that the fintech neobanking adoption has been very low, and there are multiple reasons to it. One is technology and other aspects, but we will delve into the literature review to find out more in detail. As per the literature review, what I've done is we try to use the terminology internet banking, online banking, e-banking, mobile banking, digital banking, and new banking to search the research papers. We use the structure, a systematic literature review using the Prisma methodology to find out papers. We find out about 486 papers at last, which dealt into the neo banking. This is a graph which shows you how the researchers have focused, academies have focused on the banking papers, banking research. It was very clear to me that after data that neo banking is still a very nascent and it's still a new, uh, the banking which is still require a lot of attention because this is the future. And if I look at the research paper, more research has been done towards internet bank, mobile bank, e-banking, online banking, even digital banking also. But neo banking is still is in a very nascent stage. I also went into the Emerald IEEE elsewhere, all the all the renowned publication. I only found one published paper, and this is again in October 2003. Not before that. I tried to find out which all the topics where people have focused in the internet banking. You have customer adoption, satisfaction, acceptance, security, intention to use, service quality, technology. These are the some high-level title which the banks have worked for. My focus is customer experience and even online customer experience because neo banking completely being digital, are we will only focus on online customer experience. Some of these cited papers, which are renowned cited papers for typically to the customer's experience, online customer experience, have been identified, which has about 16,000 citations and publications. These are the few authors which are very renowned and who have published papers on customer experience and banking. Moving on, these are again some published papers, some quotes for him, but I will just move it forward to find out the main findings and outcome measures. These are the renowned research and papers in respect to online customer experience, which has been done by Rose et al., Bilgin, McLean, Izogo, Altovo, and what I've done is we have find out the research and the knowledge gap in each of the paper where we identified OC has been very still remains second. Customer satisfaction is still required to be used as a variable to test the search.
Sir, I would request you to wind up the presentation. Your time
Sure,
has
I'm
been.
just so basis on that, I've created the research question and I found out the research gap. We created based on the theoretical model available. We created a new model which is conceptually created based on the pre-validated theoretical models. We created hypotheses, 9 hypotheses actually, based on the model. We used the PLS SEM, we did the structure modeling, and as well as the hypothesis modeling, and done the IPMA test to find out. We selected a sample of 470 banking customers based on the method, and this was the appropriate sample size. The convenience sampling was used to identify and do the survey. We used a questionnaire, got it vetted through two authors, and we actually did a testing where we rejected 49 samples so that we have the right testing to be done. In the final, we have taken 470s. The same method has been done in previous researches, have been done. Every variable that we have taken, it has 3 questions for survey. The survey was sent to 470 customers. We had about 55% male and 44% female, which is an acceptable factor. We did the measurement model reliability was tested. In the final result, we identified that all the hypotheses was significant at value. Our model was much better than the previous model using the PLS LSAM. The variables like perceived ease of use, enjoyment, experience are 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 uh, are the most influential for the online customer experience. Also, here, while using IPMA, we identified the perceived customer centricity and relationship quality are also the most important variables for the online customer experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Puneet Batanga, sir. Now we will begin question answers related to these.
Dr. Kapoor, any questions?
No, what exactly is the finding? I don't get it. You applied PLS and everything is fine. Results came, but what are the ultimate results? What do they say?
So
Yeah.
the, ob- the objective was to identify the variables which can impact the online customer experience. That is the first research question. And by using that, we identified the perceived ease of use, app
No,
experience, and
my question is different. While you apply PLS SEM, you go through the process of that exploratory questionnaire and all, then
right,
come
right.
the confirmatory part and testing of hypothesis and using a mouse or something. Did you use a mouse?
No, sir, I use the PLS.
Okay. So in new banking, or it is still in nascent state, everything, then what is the finding? That it is in nascent
The
state?
Yeah, so that is still in nascent stage. A lot of research is required to be done in this perspective. That is one. Second, while this the findings is very valuable for digital bankers, IT developers to focus on perceived ease of use and app experience to improve the online customer experience. The neobanks are there in India, but people are not accepting and the adoption is still very low.
But this is known otherwise. You don't have to do much research on that. This the market speaks itself. Those I think, but it's a nice presentation. Yeah. Any other question, please? Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Puneet, sir, for answering the questions. Now we will begin with speaker number 2, Sumit Devnath.
Yes, just give me a moment. Let me share my presentation. I hope my presentation is visible to all.
Yes, it's visible, Sumit.
Thank you so much. So, very good afternoon to one and all present over here. Myself, Dr. Sumit Devnath, and the title for my presentation is Validation of Interpersonal Relationship Scale Inventory, Confirmatory Factor Analysis Modeling Approach using AMOS. So, the basic purpose of this research study is to develop a scale on interpersonal relationship, and the samples which I have considered for my study is the nursing sector I have taken. So I have tried to develop a scale on interpersonal relationship with specific reference to the healthcare sector, considering nurses in my study. So if I talk about the introduction, why we need the interpersonal relationship scale. As we know in hospital segment, if I talk about patient's efficiency, patient experience, the efficiency on the hospital, and if I talk about how the interpersonal relationship works within the doctors, within the patient and nurses, so it has a direct impact on the clinical performances. If the interpersonal relationship of the person is not up to the mark, definitely it is going to impact to the nurse's clinical performance somewhere. So if I talk about the study, it was observed that hospital nurses which were concerned with dissatisfaction have increased nowadays. Why the dissatisfaction has been increased? Because there might be huge pressure behind them. There might be unhappiness is due to the improper communication within the doctors, nurses, or within the patients, and which includes active listening, empathy, and authenticity, which is quite missing. And these are the interpersonal issues which are ongoing within the fraternity, and it has led to a drastic result. That is the nurses' clinical performance. So if I say that if there is some way we can measure the interpersonal relationship within the group, then and if we are able to find out if there is any kind of existence of interpersonal issues among the group, then certainly we can resolve those issues so that we can prevent the future drastic scenarios, because nursing is such a sector because they are dealing with the patients. If nurses are not satisfied and if the relationship within the nurses is not good, then definitely it is going to impact the patient care somewhere. So that is the main objective of the study, that to develop a scale on the interpersonal relationship. If I talk about the objective of the study was to develop and validate the interpersonal scale inventory, that is to develop the IPR scale. And we have used a cross-sectional research methodology in this study. And for this particular purpose, I have used two different phases. In the first phase, we have used exploratory factor analysis approach, that is to identify the various dimensions of the interpersonal relationship, first of all. So, and in the second phase, once we have identified the dimensions, then we have gone for the confirmatory factor analysis, which were used to establish and validate the psychometric property of the instrument. So let us talk about the phase one. So in the phase one, that was the initial phase. That is the first step. The identity and the items were designed based on the review of the literature, and by conducting the semi-structured interviews with the 20 nurses were conducted. And at the initial phase, at the time of EF exploratory factor analysis, the initial question consisting of the 65 items, and which were based on the 5-point Likert scale. And finally, once we have established the 65 questionnaire, the questionnaires were validated by the two nursing educators also. And based on the opinion of the expert, out of those 65, the 6 items were dropped, and finally 59 items were considered for the exploratory factor analysis. So at the initial phase, a sample of 250 research registered nurses were considered for the EFA purpose, and the basic criteria for selection of the hospital was taken care of. So in my study, I have considered only those hospitals with a minimum of 100 beds and above were considered. And questions were provided to the ward in charges to get the data. And the factor analysis were performed by using the SPSS. This is the phase one. Now, once the factors were identified, then we have proceeded to the phase two of the study, that is to confirm the factors which were obtained at the time of EFA. So, in the second phase of the study, the factors obtained were subjected to a confirmatory factor analysis by using the AMS 23 version. And for the phase two, a sample of 766 nurses were finally considered for the purpose of scale validation. So in the second phase, the final items which were considered, it consists of only 16 items out of 59 items which was considered at the time of EFA. So in the final scale validation, 16 items were only considered for the final exploratory factor analysis. And again, the scales were, as I told, that it was measured in the 5-point Likert scale. So let us look on the data analysis part. As the data was analyzed using SPSS and AMS, in the first study, the exploratory factor analysis was conducted by the principal component analysis using varimax rotation with Casey normalization method. And this is the KMO and the Bartlett's result, and it is found to be significant. And these are the component metrics of the exploratory factor analysis. First, EFA, after EFA done, the 4 factors which were obtained. So these are the results of the factor analysis, the factor rotation. And it was found that all the 4 factors were accounted for 53.546% of the variance. So it is quite acceptable. And moreover, if I say the 4 factors which were obtained after the factor analysis, these are team management. It consists of 6 items, emotion management 4 items, social management 3 items, and politics management 3 items. So these are the 16 total 16 items which were identified as a result of factor analysis. Now, once we have identified these factors, and moreover, the reliability coefficient, that is the Cronbach alpha, was found to be 0.783, which is quite within the acceptable range, which is recommended by the Wells and Volkan. And moreover,
Whatever
the
else to
correlation,
wind up the session.
moreover, the correlation coefficient was also found to be within the acceptable range. Now, if I move to the confirmatory factor analysis part, that is the second phase of the study. So we have cross-validated the factors which were obtained as a result of exploratory factor analysis. And it was found that again, the correlation among the various factors which were obtained is quite within the range. There was a significant relationship among the various factors which were found. And moreover, if I talk about the standardized estimation in the CFA model, so all the estimates were found to be within the range, and all are statistically significant in nature. And if I talk about the scale validation, so in the present confirmatory factor analysis, it was done using the AMS, and this is the standardized estimation of the AMS result. If I talk about the validation, so we have used the discriminant validity by Fournier and Larker criteria, and moreover, the composite reliability of all the factors were found to be within range, and moreover, the AVE and MSV were also found to be within the range. So it says that the model is validated. Since the square root of AB was found to be greater than the correlation coefficient of the other construct, hence we can say the discriminant validity of the model has been established in the current scenario in the study 2. So as we can say, the study, it has been concluded finally with the validation of the 16 item scales to measure the interpersonal relationship at the workplace. Moreover, if I say, the scale was able to demonstrate the acceptable reliability and validity also. And most of the study indicates that mental illness causes symptoms such as pain and stress, and it has lower productivity at the workplace, which has direct impact on their family and social relationship. So if we as a person, if we can able to manage the relationship aspect, then definitely we can help the nurses to manage their mental health. Okay, because as we are having tremendous pressure of a job at the particular workplace. So even if we contribute a little bit, it will definitely have a long-term impact on the nurse's health also, not only in health, in managing the hospital segment, in managing the patient care, healthcare professional, we can help those peoples. So the four factor scales, it can be used by the nursing managers, educators to understand the competencies of the nurses toward the people's management, which have a significant impact on patient outcome. And moreover, the scale which is developed, it can be helpful in assessing the effectiveness of the training program also to measure the
Sir,
scope.
so
Yes,
please
sir.
wind up your session,
Yes,
sir.
thank you
Your
so much,
time.
sir. Thank you so much.
Now we will begin the question answer round. Anybody wants to ask any questions?
I
Dr.
was
Kapoor, any questions?
just, yeah, little, where, when you were in EFA analyzing, you said you had a sample of 65 or something
Yes, sir. 65 total items.
items, yeah. And then you applied factor analysis using SPSS,
Yes, sir.
found how many factors?
Total four factors were identified with 16 items.
Okay.
So from 65, it has been reduced to 16 items, which were considered for the final CFA, confirmatory factor analysis, for the phase 2 of the study.
16 is also pretty high. Normally,
Uh,
get down to less than 10, I think, personally.
Sir, I understand, but it has given me the four factors.
Yeah.
So those four factors were consisting of the 16 items. So in the first factor, we have certain items. In second factor, we have certain items. In third and fourth. So similarly, these 16 items were divided into four factors.
Further, in the
Yes.
second phase.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sir,
And in
what
the
is the
second
degree of variability in between your factors?
In one line, your contribution to this. What is the outcome of the study?
Yes, so if I talk about the outcome, finally, we were able to develop a scale of 16 items which measures the interpersonal relationship of the nurses. So specifically, my study specifically focuses on the nursing segment only. So if a nursing educator or the nursing managers, they want to establish what kind of relationship they are having within their group, if they are having any problems, they are facing any kind of interpersonal issues in their organization, they can definitely use this scale to measure such issues. And this scale will definitely help them to identify what kind of potential issues the nurses fraternity they are facing, so that in future they can rectify those issues. Because if the nurses are kept on consisting the issues in the long time, it is going to affect the patients also. So that definitely this scale will help to identify and resolve the relationship issues within the fraternity.
Thank you, sir, for answering the
To
questions.
teaching community, your study can be applied to teaching community.
Sir, actually, right now I have, as a scope, I have mentioned that we can check this scale in other segment also. So definitely I am planning to do that, sir. In my future studies, I have taken this, that I will try to use this and scale and validate in other sectors also, like teaching or other service sectors, where the interpersonal relationship plays a very important role. Because if I talk about the teachers, we are dealing with the students on daily basis. So we can talk about the relationship issue of the students also. We can check the scale in the students also. So
Anyway, thank you.
thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Now we will have our next speaker, Silky Sharma.
I'll just share my screen. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. One and all esteemed present over here. Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I'm presenting this paper as a part of my PhD program, which I'm doing under the guidance of Dr. Gurinder Singh from Amity University itself. And the title of my paper is The Adoption of Artificial Intelligence in Higher Education, an empirical study of the U-Tout model in Indian universities. So this study is in special reference to the higher education sector of India and targeting the students of PG, UG, doctoral, and of course covering the important stakeholders like faculties and the management as well. So as we all know that Indian higher education system is the third largest system, which is next to United States and China, and is expected to have enormous growth in the coming years. And there has been an inclination of Indian students towards the STEM courses. Apart from that, as per the new NEP, new education policy in India, government is inclined to improve the education system by introducing the education system of world level excellence. So why not to have the applications of latest technologies like artificial intelligence in this particular sector? So if we look at AI applications in higher education, so we have its applications in teaching and learning, which is the most important process, wherein we need to impart the students skills which make them future ready and give them a learning environment wherein they can work and collaborate with the students available worldwide. They can work from anywhere, anytime, and with anyone available from the different geographies. Apart from that, their application related to the student success, wherein we have student enrollment in the universities, student retention, student completing the degrees, and engaging them even after completing the programs when they become alumni of the university. Also, AI has applications in academic research, wherein again, the researchers can collaborate and they can deploy the outcomes for numerous benefits, and in managing the administration of the campus in terms of having the secured and connected campuses. So we have seen that AI has numerous applications in almost each and every department of higher education. And there are a number of benefits that can revolutionize this particular industries by modernizing the teaching strategies, by having the personalized learning development paths for the students, by having the individualized learning experiences for them so that students can know themselves better in terms of their strength and weak areas, and they can accordingly craft their careers. AI is quite different technology as compared to the previous ones because of the innovative features that it offers to the learners and the teachers both. For example, adaptive learning. This technology is able to understand the learning path and the learning level of each student, and it can give them an experience of adaptive learning through the smart curated content, which makes them understand the lessons very easily. It can automate the administrative mundane task for the faculties, which they do on the routine basis. However, Indian education sector being so massive, having its own challenges, like enrollment of the students in different universities. On one side, we have a crunch of the seats for the students who want to take admission into that particular university. On the other side, there are quality institutions where a number of program seats, they get vacant, they remain vacant, and students are not enrolled. Then increasing the quality of the education has always been the focus. Then other challenge like political interference, poor infrastructure, lack of facilities, especially for the research and for the practical, that still it needs to be improved, and poor governance structure somewhere leads and offer a strong challenge to the Indian higher education system. So for this particular study, I have done a lot of literature review, and on the basis of the literature review regarding the adoption of the technology, there's one theory which has been considered and worldwide accepted, that is unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, which is known as a U-Tout model. It was developed by Venkatesh et al. In the year 2003. And of course, he has tried to unify a number of theories, and it has integrated their essence into the previous 8 theories, which I'm just gonna, let you know. Previously, the theory of reasoned action, TRA, then technology acceptance model, motivational model, theory of planned behavior. Then TAM2 was revised again by introducing one more factor. Then model of PC utilization, innovation diffusion theory, and social cognitive theory. So all these theories have been amalgamated and well developed by Venkatesh et al. And converted into this unified theory of acceptance and use of technology. Now, so I have considered this particular theory and technology acceptance model and perceived organizational support to develop and propose my model for this particular research. This is the proposed model from my side, wherein we have factors like perceived organizational support, perceived ease of use, perceived risk, and performance expectancy that can impact. Yeah, just a moment, please. Let me. So this is the proposed model, wherein this, the adoption of artificial intelligence is impacted by perceived organizational support, that how much the organization supports the learner or the teacher to implement and adopt it in their. Then perceived ease of use, perceived risk, and performance expectancy, that if I do put the effort, will it actually lead to the result? So these are the important factors that leads to the adoption of AI in teaching and learning system. Also, if you look at the specific my contribution, what is new that has, so there's no study that has been done with respect to this. Few studies have been done in the Indian context with limited number of respondents. Plus, I have added on to the whether the adoption of AI will lead to satisfaction, and will the satisfaction also lead to the continuous intention, that is the intention to use it even in future further. So that is what is new in this. So for that, I have developed a number of hypotheses and developed a questionnaire, did a survey on more than 300 respondents covering the UG, PG, doctoral students and the faculties. The objectives of the study are to of course, first exploratory, to understand the applications and challenges of AI with reference to our education sector. Then another important objective was to investigate and identify the behavioral factors of the stakeholders in Indian higher education sector, which influence the adoption of AI applications. Finally, to develop, propose, and even test the model also for the adoption of AI, which is based on UTOUT, which I have already explained to you, which is a robust model explaining the technology acceptance within the organization and to its continuous intention in higher education. And also to give the future implications for key players in the use of AI in higher education. So the research methodology that I have adopted for it is the quantitative study, wherein 392 respondents have been undergone through this survey. Stratified random sampling is used to select the respondents, wherein we have ensured that we have collected enough amount of responses from the various institutions of India that belong to higher education industry. And then hypotheses were formed and the relationships were checked. So again, I have also used the software PLS-SEM, structure equation modeling, and all the convergent validity, divergent validity, composite liability, discriminant validity, they have been quite well in accepted range. If I come to my study findings, so the findings of my...
Please try to wind the session.
Yeah, just 2 more minutes, please. So our model has been able to pinpoint the factors that perceived organizational support, ease of use, and expectancy definitely greatly encourages the adoption of AI in higher education, leading to satisfaction, and which once satisfaction is achieved further promotes the continuous intention. Also, perceived risk from the individual perspective. It emphasizes the need to address the issues with cost, because AI is an expensive technology, then quality, customization, and technical challenges which are there as per the available infrastructure of India. So they pose a serious challenge in the implementation of the same. Also, we have stated that deployment of AI by higher education would result in significant benefits. So if the institutions are able to address the user difficulties, they're able to promote the user-friendly AI technology, because this is very important. On one side, we have Gen Z or Alpha generation who are into the study mode, and millennials or people from the Generation X are there to teach them. So we have to address those needs also. It has to be user-friendly as well as it has to be interesting for the people of multiple generations. Then perceived organizational support is a crucial factor in fostering an environment that will definitely encourage the adoption of AI in higher education. So this was my model of all the factors, which was an outcome of this SCM model. And at the end, also the implications for the policymakers, for the academicians, students, AI creators, and people who are involved in AI research and innovators have also been given. And the limitations and future work, for example, future research can be also done, covering the varied range of institutions from other fields also, so that the findings can be applicable to other contexts, and also to understand the cultural influences in terms of adoption of AI in higher education. So cross-cultural differences should also be thoroughly investigated. So these are some of the directions in which the future work can be carried out to further this particular research. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And
Thank you, Silika
yeah.
ma'am. Now we will begin the question answer round.
Yes.
Dr. Kapoor, any question?
Dr. Kapoor, you are
Dr. Kapoor, you are on mute.
So, okay,
Now it's
Yes,
audible,
sir.
Dr.
Now
Kapoor.
you're audible.
is it?
yes, sir.
No, I was wondering, this adoption, AI adoption, AI as a technology adopted by stakeholders. You think is it not, people are not ready to accept that? Have you done any study? You have not done any study on that, based on AI has so many factors which help adopting this technology in education sector. But what is the response you think is of the teaching community to AI? AI has it done anything? I have not seen an application in education, so, that where my problem is easily solvable, or then they don't give you a solution. After all, any technology which comes in, initially you have to struggle with it and find out what should AI have, the technology factors, so that people are more inclined to using AI. Am I clear to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The most important factor for the adoption should be, as I have used in my model also, the perceived ease of use. So that factor has to be met, that the user who has to use, be it a learner or be it an educator, so they should perceive it that it is easy to understand for me and to implement also. Also, effort expectancy, the another parameter which I have taken in my study, it also signifies that if I use it, then it will actually deliver the outcome. So if the researchers and the innovators or the developers who are involved in creating such tools, in developing these applications, if they are able to address this need, so definitely they are going to get a good response. And sir, if I talk about IIT Bombay is there. Apart from that, there's one school is there in Bangalore, which has already, they've started testing robot as a teacher in their classrooms. And yeah, it's into the development phase. But if we talk about our present life, so we are already using AI applications in our research and development, especially wherein we are able to search a lot of amount of data with quite ease, which was not earlier there present. We are already using the collaborative workspaces in terms of doing the research, and in the corporate world also, so that is being used. So if we are able to replicate that particular model into our academics as well, because during COVID-19 also, we learned that we can have a platform wherein if a learner wants to learn from a particular teacher and that teacher is not available in India or during that time. So the facility should be created in a way that a student can decide onto his teacher, decide onto his course and at a particular time. So that is where we see the application of AI.
Just have a small question. How far this interdependence, can affect use of AI in education? I'm talking of interpersonal relationship, you use a technology, I don't use, you influence
Yes,
that interrelationship, that
yes, sir.
is there any?
Yes, sir. That is the direction for the future research. That's what I put a point also during the presentation, that since the educators are from the generation X or Y, and the learners are from Gen Z or the next generation Alpha. So AI products, tools should be developed in a way that it is user friendly and it is appealing to multiple people for people from multiple generations. That is a challenge, yes, for the developers, so that it appeal to people from all the different generations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, thank you to the organizers as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the question answer round. Now I will ask Mr. Deepak Bansal for this presentation. Mr. Deepak Bansal.
However, in the meanwhile, if Mr. Deepak Bansal is not there, we can ask the next presenter to present.
Yes, sure, sir. The next presenter is Miss Vishakha Shambhav.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm presenting my PPT. I hope it is visible to everyone.
Yes, Ms. Vishakha is visible. You
Yes,
can
ma'am.
proceed with your presentation.
Okay. Thank you so much. So good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Vishakha Sambhav, Assistant Professor from Lady Irwin College, along with my co-author, Ms. Swati Yadav, has done this paper under the guidance of Dr. Shikha Kapoor, and the topic of my presentation is Entrepreneurship Education and Capacity Development in the Digital Age. Okay. So in
Ms.
today's
Vishakha, one request, please switch on your camera.
Sir, because of the poor connectivity, I put it off.
Okay,
I might
no,
lose it. That's why,
no
sir.
issue.
Okay, thank you, sir. So as we navigate the ever-evolving landscape of the century, the role of entrepreneurship has become very crucial. So in this digital era where innovation and technology drive economies, it is very crucial that we equip ourselves or our individuals with the knowledge and the skills necessary to thrive as entrepreneurs. So in this paper, we explore the intersection of entrepreneurship, education, and the digital era, shedding light on the opportunities as well as challenges that lie ahead, and to delve into the transformative power of entrepreneurship education and how it can empower the individuals to succeed in the dynamic and ever-changing competitive world of today's time. So let me go ahead. So talking about the literature review, so there are certain points. So after reviewing the literature, there are certain points to consider and to mention here, like, students gain practical knowledge through experiential learning, and the emphasis was more on project-based learning and internships. So to motivate them and to make it more engaging for the students. There was a digital shift in education, and thanks to the COVID-19, and it was accelerated by the pandemic, post-pandemic. So there was an online delivery of lectures, assignments, and exams. And higher education institutions, they are actually investing in technology to be upgraded in this era, in this time. There was this digital economy preparation. So the degrees, they should prepare students for entrepreneurship, and they should focus more on innovation, creativity, digital literacy, and the technology and more skills. Moving on to so talking about the entrepreneurial challenges and innovations. So post COVID and during COVID-19, the entrepreneurs survived through innovation, and the impact was huge on employment and productivity. And even 63% of the entrepreneur, they postponed their projects during the pandemic. And banking sector, they become more fragile, more agile and flexible during the pandemic, and they by going digitalized. So like that. Talking about individual traits and entrepreneurial competencies. So individual traits, personal traits and competencies, they play a crucial role. Like, for example, openness to experience, conscientiousness, there's this emotional stability, tolerance to ambiguity. So these plays, they influence entrepreneurial intentions a lot. And talking about entrepreneurial competencies that have a great role in the knowledge, skills, and attitudes of the upcoming entrepreneurs. There is this planned behavior theory that assumes that individuals, they act rationally according to their attitudes, their norms, and their perceived behavioral control. What are the role of universities in entrepreneurial capacity building? So universities, they act as a catalyst, and they play a very critical role in the creation of entrepreneurial capacity. So they build and they provide that platform for students and for other stakeholders to come up with the with the idea generation and to go ahead with the process of entrepreneurship. There are university incubator initiatives also that act as a platform, and that include incubations to enhance students' knowledge, attitudes, and their skill set. And obviously, this is the model, this is the conceptual model that they are using, the university and the incubator centers, they are using as an educational intervention to create that nudge in the students to come up with the to get into more into experiential learning and gain more and more knowledge and obviously skills. Talking about the research methodology, so in this survey, we have conducted through a built-in program application, and there were 290 participants from 5 universities, and from the year 2021 and 2022. And the participants were enrolled in courses from entrepreneurship ecosystem, and they represented our sample. This research aimed to analyze the relationship between the entrepreneurial attitude and the entrepreneurial intentions. 4 key entrepreneurial attitudes were innovating, achievement, self-esteeming, and exercising the personal control. So these were identified as 4 factors, 4 main factors. And to ensure the reliability of this survey, internal consistency was assessed using the Cronbach alpha and with a threshold of 0.7. And the validation involved averaging the selected items to calculate the construct values. Exploratory factor analysis was employed to assess the validity of the chosen items and determine if independent factors they sufficiently explain the significant factors or not. The study also examined the role-based attitudes of actors in online roles. And here, by actors, we mean the participating persons that could be like your students, faculty, and other business professionals. Non-parametric tests were applied to analyze the attitudes of both the groups, confirming or refuting the hypothesis about the connection between the actors' roles and their attitudes. Overall, the research provide insights into the correlation between the entrepreneurial attitude and their intentions, offering a valuable perspective on the factors influencing individual engagement in business activities. So these are the hypotheses. There are 6 hypotheses. Number 1 is there is no significant difference in self-esteem between the digital platform users, members, and other construct at the time of applying to that incubation center or that incubation program. Second one is there is no significant difference in the likelihood of engaging in business activities between the students who have their own ideas, like students who are coming up with their own ideas for business, and those who do not. Third, there is no significant difference in the level of innovation desire between the external mentors and other actors, which we have taken in the study. There is no significant relationship or effect between the entrepreneurship and the opportunity for student idea owners to become independent. And there is no significant relationship between having business ideas and being confident in the success of those ideas. Last is student developers believe that the least they can succeed is in the business activities that they are in actually. These are the results. So here is a table that represents an analysis of our online entrepreneurial attitude index with the 4 entrepreneurial attitude constructs. So these are the 4 constructs, like first is innovation, second is personal control, third is achievement, fourth is self-esteem, and the values are written on the right hand side, and these are the factors which we have taken from the questionnaire for all the 4 constructs. Like for example, like innovation ke liye humne ye, we have used these three pointers to get into the results. Next, one second. So these are the results of exploratory factor analysis with the 4 constructs according to the questions F1 and F2. So this is the model. So this shows, this is the model which shows with that we have 4 constructs which have a relation, and the relation have been shown with each other and also with the net MIB and EO index. For example, like innovation and personal control, they have a relationship and it has an impact on, so it has an impact on net MIB like 0.819. So this is the model that we have constructed. This is the attitude. There are certain values. These are the certain values of attitude constructs described statistically. So these are the mean, median, skewness, and the kurtosis of all the 4 constructs that we have taken. These are the model of binary logistic regression. Significant results are obtained, and these are the points like L0 odd 6.257, and for exploratory it is 517.489.
I would have to ask you to wind up the session, please.
Okay. So these are the differences in median across different roles. These are the findings. So when registering on the platform, so participants, they do not believe that they will succeed. Therefore, education intervention should also aim to develop participants' self-esteem, to give them the boost. So that accept the first hypothesis. Second finding is students who own their ideas for business have a higher likelihood of engaging in a business activity. That confirms the second hypothesis. As a result of the table, the difference in the median across roles, we can provide evidence that support the hypothesis 3, that is external mentors, they exhibit a significantly higher role of innovation desire than the other actors. So in contrast to the internal mentorship and student development, external mentorship and student idea owners are not significantly different. And when it comes to concepts of personal control and achievement, there is a difference between these 2 things. So hypotheses 5 and 6, they verified through the results. Students with the business ideas are very confident that their ideas will succeed. And on the other hand, the least amount of confidence that student developers have that they can succeed in the business activities. And these findings suggest that the participants in the online program who have attended and who have developed their own ideas are more resolute as compared to the other counterparts. Coming to the conclusion, not taking more time. So this study investigates the impact of multidisciplinary ideation and business model generation, online incubation platform on entrepreneurial attitude, incubation programs deemed beneficial for both universities and industries, and it plays a very crucial role in enhancing the self-esteem and fostering the entrepreneurial environment for everyone. And the platform also offers opportunity for technology transfer, collaboration, networking, and cross-cultural exchanges. It also examined the role-based attitudes within the online incubator program that the researcher reveals significant differences in self-esteem between the owners and the mentored members. So there's this very good uh, differences. The effectiveness of the program is measured using the EO index, and that demonstrate the higher level of self-confidence and independence among the students with the business idea. It is very obvious that those who have succeeded have high confidence as compared to the other counterparts. And the last point is the EO index contributes not only to the understanding and improving online incubation center or programs, but they also serve as a very valuable tool for comparing the initiatives which are taken by the education or HEIs and identifying the areas, the loop areas for enhancement and any improvements in the future. So to, provide the best opportunity in the field of entrepreneurship. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vishaka ma'am. Now we will begin the question answer round.
Yeah, I was wondering, entrepreneurship can revolutionize the way you do things, like AI can do. Do you think?
Definitely, sir. Not, I think I cannot compare these two, but definitely entrepreneurship is helping the economy, has been helping the economy in one way or the other, and it will do wonders. Therefore, that is why, sir, there are so many things, there are so many startups and students, young generations, they are actually motivated to go, not going for the jobs. Instead,
Yeah,
they want to be their own masters.
maybe, excuse me, maybe entrepreneurship goes away with the more usage of AI. Everybody starts applying AI.
So definitely. So these two things will integrate with each other.
Because I
They are
don't
going to
agree.
use the AI no matter
Yes.
what, because that is the time. This is the, need of the hour, that AI is there. There is this technology which is quite high this time, and they can actually encash by using the AI for their own usage, and obviously by using their own creativity and ideation process.
Yeah, something I want to discuss more, but I won't. There's no time. But by the way, why did you, at the conclusion, thank you, put a fry pan here? What is this? Can you tell?
Okay, so that's not a fry pan. I'm so sorry.
But
This is a lens.
lenses, but it looks like a fry pan to me.
Sir, I'll take care next time onwards.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, Silky ma'am. Now we will have Ashutosh Bhushan for their presentation.
Uh, am I clearly audible and visible, sir?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. So just 1 minute, I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Hello? Okay, so I'm starting. So thank you very much for this opportunity. So here, my paper is on the topic India crime analysis. So before starting, I would like to give a brief review about how crime pattern has been observed in India. So India being the seventh largest country in the world, we have different sorts of crime. So the dominant ones are basically rape and riots, and counterfeit currency has been observed to be like a reclination towards riots. As the rights increases, counterfeit currency also increases, and as it decreases, counterfeit also decreases. So this is the unique pattern of it. So India, crime is relatively high, in fact quite higher compared to other nations. Although we have strict laws, police, but still we are not able to prevent crimes. Probably because of all the security labs, our best of the enemies are able to penetrate deep into our nation and activate internal problems in India. Our internal problems might seem to be very simple to solve, catch hold the criminal, but the bigger threat will almost likely be abroad. This is the basic thing. The funding is abroad, foreign funding. The perpetrators are from abroad, but they invest into different, especially economically lower part sections, and and uh, and activate their anti-India sentiments into their minds. And this is what the crimes are increasing because of. It's important to note that crime patterns statistics can change over the period of time, but the nature of doing a crime might not change. From riots, rape to arson, counterfeit, India as a nation has been facing all these issues where the funding for this comes from overseas. Property crimes, including theft, burglary, and violent crimes like assault, robbery, both of these crimes are strongly associated, or should mention, dependent on two things: law enforcement agencies and socio-economic factors, society disparities, and wages difference. On the other hand, cyber crimes have taken a large scale as with increasing use of technology and gadgets, people are now able to create fake identities online from identity theft and even AI tools. So this is the figure given here. Around 3,400 communal riots took place from 2016 to 2020. One important thing to note is as riots mastermind might not be on the target list of law enforcement agencies later on, but on report that is a firm report. An individual can't be filed against it. There is always a group of individuals involved in riots, and this is the negative beauty of riots because there is no particular individual to be caught. This is what makes riots easy, which makes it difficult for the police to trace the masterminds. And then coming towards rape. According to the 2021 annual report of the National Crime Records Bureau, 31,677 rape cases were registered across the nation. And this is the figure given. It's also mentioned in the paper. During the pandemic in 2020, when there was a lockdown, registered rape cases were extremely high due to COVID-19 and lockdown 2020. Rape cases dropped in 2020 but went high again. Even rape crimes can be organized, like in case of property, money lending, marriage. We are actually surrounded by organized crimes, and in the center we assume that it's an unorganized crime. The highest now coming towards counterfeit currency, the two figures given here. The highest seized counterfeit currency in India was in 2020, that is around rupees 92 crores in INR. Why counterfeit currency is still a big reason to worry despite of demonetization in 2016. Counterfeit weakens your economy as it's very similar and very difficult to identify between real notes and counterfeit notes. Probably are not so good nations might be doing this by infiltrating India and increasing counterfeit currencies. The number of rupees 500 notes in India increased by 31% in the last 1 year. Still might be endless crimes, but we must have missed out. But now for now these crimes are in dominance and especially counterfeit is next to impossible to cure as it's under foreign parties. Now, some of the figures given in paper can be explained there. This is the average of all the crimes. You can see average rape and average robbery, burglary, theft. These two are the dominants. And next comes the average riots in the bar. This was of one state. This was of Kerala. Now comes Karnataka. This is at the paper. It's the peninsular India has been talked about because since it has been surrounded by oceans, still there has been infiltration, especially by the Middle Eastern or Gulf countries. When we talk about Kerala, the average rape, you can see the average hurt, and then comes the average burglary. And this is Tamil Nadu. So here a different sort of pattern is observed. Although the crime rates are same, like rape and riots and burglary, and then here comes hurt. This is all going on, but you can see there's a steep decline and then up again. Especially in Tamil Nadu, crime against women has been higher, and particularly terrorism is also a problem in Tamil Nadu, especially because of the LTT and also Sinhalese and Tamil fights, and the civil war in Sri Lanka was also had also a big impact on Tamil Nadu. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Now we have question answer round.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Ashutosh,
Ashutosh.
please. What is it? I know this is the analysis that you have done. What it amounts to, where it takes you to. Well, it doesn't help you in reducing the number of rape cases or any all nonsense thing. Your aim is to analyze past data and that's the end of it.
Uh,
Am I,
is anyone listening?
no, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
No, I said it. I won't repeat my question. Yeah, anyway,
Yeah, yeah. So I got it. I got it, sir. Sir, analyzing the past crime patterns would help. Like for example, we take counterfeit. It's an organized crime, and then we take riots. So when we analyze the patterns, then it will be easy for the law enforcement agency to understand this, and then their action or task force can do the thing to eliminate it or reduce it. And when we talk about rapes is also a bit of manipulated. That's why a strong analysis has to be done, and this was a part of that. So doing analysis is the
what
first thing.
makes people do that? All these kinds of crimes, what makes people do them? Have you any study on that, any observation, or why people, despite all, I see in my where I live in Noida. Nearby, it is a defense corps. People, all defense people live there. Then you find they catch one person, then second one comes and does the same thing. You know, there is no deterrent kind of effect. This is my feeling. I see a man stealing something and then he's caught. Then you find the other guy coming with friends and doing the same thing. It has no effect on him of what happened in the past to that other guy who's in jail. Something of that. The study is still halfway through, but I think it needs more inputs. I don't know, you know best.
Yeah, so organized ones, since the funding is from foreign nations, so that is actually dependent on our external agencies which handle external affairs. And for that, talking about theft or rape or robbery, these kinds of things. This is particularly because of the economic disparity. Like if there are two neighbors, neighbor A is rich, neighbor B is poor. So definitely neighbor B will feel such kind of things. And it's a human nature, so that this is why such kind of like rape, theft, and all and cyber crimes, these kinds of things. Even the law enforcement agencies catches one person, then the other person comes and does the same thing. So in such kinds of things, the solution can be the fear of law enforcement. Like one person has been taken all the judicial custodies and has been life sentenced. So this will create a fear. This can be a solution.
No, fear of law remains for a few days and then people forget. You get another criminal. One criminal goes, another comes in. This is my feeling. The law enforcement agencies have no effect on that. Punish any kind of punishment has no effect. We continue to breed these. Anyway, thank you very much. Excellent. I'm told you are a BBA student. You made an excellent presentation. Congrats. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ashutosh, for a great presentation. Now we have Mr. Bushra for their presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just sharing my screen.
Yes, ma'am. Your time starts now.
Yeah. I hope screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my paper title is Impact of Gender, Age and Education on Investors' Behavior, an empirical study of Delhi NCR, along with my co-authors, Dr. Shalini Srivastav and Dr. Shikha Kapoor. And this would be the flow of my presentation, starting with the background and then ending up with the finding, conclusion, and recommendation. So when it comes to the introduction to the topic, this study is majorly based on the behavioral finance, which is nothing but the combination of economics, finance, and psychology, that how an individual or retail investor's psychology is going to affect their investment decisions. Because psychology of an individual or the personality of an individual, majorly when we relate it to the demographic aspects of the retail investors, so it is having a significant impact on their behavior as well as on their financial decision making processes. But when we talk about the financial decision making processes, so there are certain questions that these behavioral biases, they impact almost to everyone, but the gravity of the importance of the impact, it may vary from one category or one individual to the another individual. So these biases, they have an impact on everyone, from retail investors to the corporate management to the professional analyst as well as to the portfolio managers. But it would not be accurate to state that behavioral biases have a same impact on all the investors. These investors, they may be impacted by some biases, while some of the other investors, they may be affected by some other biases. Moreover, the level of biasness may also vary in terms of their demographic traits. The biases, they may vary on the basis of gender, on the basis of age, on the basis of level of education, on the basis of employment, and certain other aspects. So this particular study, it has identified 3 demographic aspects of the retail investors of Delhi NCR. That is gender of investors, age of investors, and education investors. And with the help of these 3 demographic aspects, we have tried to find an association between these 3 factors with the behavioral biases of the investors. Then when it comes to the review of literature, it ranges the studies from 1965 to the latest one up to 2023, covering the various areas for the references. That is, the studies based on stock market, investment decisions, traditional finance and behavioral finance, investor psychology, behavioral biases, and all. Moving further, this is the research gap, right? So a lot of work by eminent researchers, it has been done in the field of behavioral finance. There are various studies which has categorically focused on the demographic aspect, but we have not found any specific study wherein only these 3 demographic aspects, that is gender, age, and education of the investors, have been studied in a specific manner. So this paper offers a novel perspective on the profile of investors, conforming to each bias in the deliberation. It not only appraises the evidence on behavioral biases, but also identifies as bias that has the greatest impact with reference to the age, gender, and education of the investors. These are the variables identified in the study. These are the 5 selected behavioral biases: overconfidence bias, anchoring bias, herding bias, loss aversion bias, and the mental accounting bias. And as I discussed earlier, I had tried to find out an association of these 5 selected behavioral biases as per the demography, that is gender, age, and education of the retail investors of Delhi NCR. Now, moving on to the objectives of this study. So there are 2 objectives. One is to study or to describe the behavioral biases of retail investors in Indian stock market, specifically to the Delhi NCR investors. And the second main objective is to analyze the impact of gender, age, and level of education on behavioral biases of the retail investors' decisions with reference to Delhi NCR. Just to find out whether the gender, age, and level of education, it is really going to affect the investment decisions taken by the retail investors in the market. Now, accordingly, the hypothesis has been formulated. So null hypothesis was there is no significant difference in the behavioral biases of retail investors with reference to demography, and which has been further subdivided into 3 sub-hypotheses. That is there any significant relationship between the gender of the investors and behavioral biases? Significant relationship between age of the investors and behavioral biases? And last one, is there any significant relationship between the education of the investors and the behavioral biases? Then this, when it comes to the research methodology, the research design was descriptive, and I had collected primary data with the help of a structured questionnaire, and I had further added on the literature and the Google references just to incorporate the secondary inferences. Population of the study was the stock market investors of Delhi NCR. Sample size was 106 investors, and a statistical tool were the basic statistical tool were used, that is t-test and one-way ANOVA using SPSS. Now, when it comes to the limitations of the study, so as I discussed that my sample size is restricted to the Delhi NCR, it may be considered as one of the limitations. Then it assumes that the information and the responses provided by the respondents are objective and genuine, because behavioral inferences or psychological impact is something which is majorly qualitative in nature. So we are not 100% sure whether the person, whatever responses he is giving on the basis of the items or on the basis of the statements formulated to measure the overconfidence or the anchoring or the loss aversion, whether it is 100% true or not, but we had assumed that the responses were objective and they were genuine. Second thing is that it is just based on the certain aspect. It has not included the various political or social aspects which may additionally influence the financial or investment decisions of the investors. When it comes to the statistical aspects, so these are the demographic aspects, the data, number of respondents on the basis of gender, age, employment, level of income, education, and other aspects. To cross-check the validity and reliability of the data, the Cronbach alpha has been calculated, which is within the reasonable limits. The value of the alpha was 0.816, and the content validity of the questionnaire was checked based on the expert opinions from the people who are actually working in the stock market, or they are actively involved in the finance and accounts field. Then
Ma'am, please wind up
these
your
are
session in
the
2 minutes.
These are the statistical results to find out the association between the gender and the behavioral biases. So these are the results of t-test, and the p-value for the three biases was significant. That is, when it comes to the gender, then it is really impacting the three selected biases, that is overconfidence bias, herding bias, only two biases, I'm so sorry. That is overconfidence and the herding. And moving on further, these are the outcomes for the one-way ANOVA. And the significant biases were overconfidence, anchoring, herding, loss aversion, and mental accounting. Now, in order to study in detail, I had further applied post hoc analysis to find out whether within the ranges of various ages or within the ranges of various education groups, whether actually there is a difference on the basis of age and as well as the level of education of the investors or not. So these are the outcomes of post hoc analysis on the basis of loss aversion, then on the basis of mental accounting. Then the third factor wherein I had tried to find out an association between the level of education and the behavioral biases, and as per the values of the significance, all the results were significant. It means the level of education is impacting the all selected 5 behavioral biases of the retail investors. And further, the post hoc analysis for the various education levels for the overconfidence first. Then moving on, these are the results for the post hoc analysis with reference to loss aversion, then mental accounting, then anchoring, and last one is for the herding. Moving on to the findings of the study. So when it comes to the very first aspect, that is the gender, so overconfidence and herding were the significant biases. Investors are affected by the level of overconfidence and herding while making investment decisions, whereas as per the findings of this particular data or this particular study, it reveals that male investors exhibit higher scores or overconfidence as compared to the female investors. When it comes to the age group and behavioral biases, so there is a significant association between all the selected 5 behavioral biases and the age group of the investors. And similarly, when it comes to the level of education and the behavioral biases of the investors, so I have found all the values significant. So overconfidence, anchoring, loss aversion, mental accounting, as well as herding biases, they were significant as per the level of education of the retail investors. Moving on to the conclusion. So this study is particularly conducted to find an association between the selected demographic aspects and the selected behavioral biases. It tested the presence of 5 behavioral biases, namely overconfidence, loss aversion, mental accounting, anchoring, and herding. All in all, 806 responses were collected, and the data analysis has been further analyzed using t-test and one-way ANOVA, right? So, according to the ANOVA results, overconfidence, loss aversion, anchoring, and mental accounting are the biases that are more prevalent among investors of a certain age group. Young investors of 21 to 30 years are more likely to get affected by these behavioral biases while making investment choices than the investors in the higher age groups. The biases of investors in the age group of 21 to 30 and 31 to 40 years was significantly different as per the post hoc analysis results. Individual investors belonging to the age group of 21 to 30 years have more tendencies towards biased behavior than the other age groups. And these findings, they are consistent with the findings of Tailspear, who has conducted the study in the year 2013. We can further infer that overconfidence, herding, anchoring, loss aversion, and mental accounting are significant biases across the investors of various education groups. Regarding the education of investors, investors in low education groups, they tend to be affected more by the overconfidence, herding, and mental accounting in comparison to the highly educated groups of investors. And these findings are again in line with the research findings of the Lin, Bhandari, and teams. Then when it comes to the implications of the study, so this study represents an association between the selected demographic aspect and the behavioral biases. It contributes to the existing literature review based on the demographic aspects and behavioral biases. These
And the time
results
is
and
up.
findings are helpful for the retail investors and financial advisors. It will help them in catering the investment requirements as per the gender, age, and level of education. It is based on 3 demographic aspects, and it can further be elaborated by involving more biases and demographic aspects. Now, these are the few selected responses from the literature. And thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your time. So this is all from my side.
Thank you, let's start the question answer round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a small query. You mentioned somewhere that biases are different within
Yes.
different age groups. They are bound to be different, It goes without saying. Don't you think so? A bias, if I'm when I was 30, 40, my bias was different. Now when I'm 60, it is different and so on, So this finding that you suggest, that do you think it makes it is important to mention that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
For sure, age is a significant factor when it comes to the impact on our psychology, because whenever we are in our younger ages, we are having different kind of expectations from ourselves, from our investments. When we move on to our families, to the middle age group, our preferences changes. And when we further grow up towards our seniority, our level of inferences or our level of expectations from our investments. So we look for the opportunities wherein we can invest our retirement funds, or we'll be just investing only on those securities which can promise us this sustainable or the regular kind of dividends. Regular growth stocks or mutual fund investments may be there, means we would become more and more risk averse when we move towards a certain level of age. So these biases, they vary as per the age group of the investors.
Yeah, of course, as you age, things change. Biases will change automatically.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Nobody has to teach me Then, but one night I get up and say, I won't accept this. I'm going to do that. I've suddenly changed. My bias has changed. Is it?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify. Maybe later, some other time, we can discuss. You keep coming to the department. Yeah,
Sure, sir.
well presented, good presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bushra, for the
Thank
presentation.
you.
Now we have Mr. Admiral Alok Bhatnagar.
Yes, thank you. Let me share my screen. I'm not able to get my presentation up.
Dr. Bhatnagar, at the bottom, there's an option of screen sharing.
Yeah. I know I'm doing that, but I'm not able to see my screen. Where is this now? Yeah, there is a option here. Share screen. Okay, got it. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen now.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes, sir.
You can
So your
please
time
proceed.
starts now.
Okay. So at the outset, I would like to compliment Dr. Gurinder Singh for organizing this event and also the organizers of this international conference for giving me an opportunity to delve upon the geopolitical sphere and talk about a topic which is does not find space in the academic discourse, which is Arctic. And my topic for discussion today, which is very subjective, which is more qualitative, not quantitative, is extra-regional powers in the Arctic region. So, as some of you may know, and I'm very aware of the time that I have, so I'll go fast. So we are looking at a place which is remote, desolate, but strategically important. The Arctic is also a region that is pristine, frigid, and fragile. And in spite of it being very cold and not very hospitable for life, there are 51 species of land animals, 9 varieties of birds, 250 species of fish. Most importantly, 4 million people live in the Arctic, along with 40 ethnic groups. Along with the many thousand varieties of plants. So it is a very thriving ecosystem, and it is unfortunately being endangered by global warming, which is, of course, been happening for some time. But if you go back to about 56 million years ago, you'll be surprised to know that Arctic as well as the Antarctic were ice-free. And thereafter, we went through cycles of ice and no ice until we came to the Little Ice Age from 14th to the 19th century. And this was thereafter disturbed by the Industrial Revolution. And today we find that the average global temperature has risen by about 1 degree Celsius since 1840, which may sound to be a very small number, but it has got catastrophic effect on the global climate, and the summer sea extent, ice extent of the Arctic is shrinking at 12.2% per decade. And it is estimated that the Arctic Ocean will be free of ice by 2050. This has given opportunity for human intervention, which is causing marine pollution and detrimental effect on the flora and fauna of the region. Some more effects of global warming can be seen on this slide, which is accessibility to natural resources, which has brought in territorial disputes, increased superpower rivalry, and wherever there is rivalry, there is military buildup, and the melting of the sea ice has also opened the sea routes in the Arctic, which has shortened the distance between the Pacific and the Atlantic, and we'll talk about it in a bit. There's also economic opportunity of marine infrastructure development and increased trade because of the opening of these routes. All this has also attracted extra-regional powers in the Arctic. Now, while all this is happening in the Arctic, we also find that there are issues of Arctic governance. Now, the Arctic Ocean, mainly the Arctic region, particularly the Arctic Ocean, is governed by the Arctic Council, which is basically focusing on the environment, the global climate change effects, and also the maintenance of the Arctic ecosystem and preservation of the indigenous tribes, as well as the flora and fauna in that region. They have also promulgated an Arctic Polar Code, which is basically for marine pollution from ships that go in that area. So there are 31 conventions and treaties specific to the Arctic, but unfortunately only 4 of them are legally binding on the countries there, and these also relate to pollution, whale hunting, and search and rescue. So basically there are no legally binding and enforcing treaties and conventions in that region. Unlike the Arctic, which has been declared as a no man's land, and has got an Arctic treaty signed by most countries in the world, there is no overarching legally binding treaty in the Arctic region. And therefore we find that the Arctic is poorly governed, and we need to focus also on the United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Sea, because of the simple reason that most of the Arctic is basically the Arctic Ocean, and therefore the territorial claims that are there in the maritime domain have to be addressed by the United Nations Convention on Laws of the Sea. Unfortunately, a major player in the Arctic, that is the United States, is not a signatory of the UNCLOS, and therefore a big problem there. And therefore the claims of internal waters, which is basically of Canada and Russia, and the exclusive economic zone, which extends to the continental shelf delineation, are also areas that are of concern. Also right of innocent passage, and thereafter finally the global commons, which is the area that is left in the Arctic, which is not claimed by any of the countries in the Arctic through their EEZ or continental shelf. So it's a poorly governed area. Accessibility is increased, poorly governed area of a region which is resource rich. Now, 13% of the untapped crude oil, 30% of the untapped gas, and 25% of rare earth metals are estimated to be in the Arctic. And extraction of these resources has already begun by Russia and the US. Of course, there are questions about economic viability of these resources extraction, but 80% of Russian oil and almost 100% of their gas, which they export, comes from the Arctic region of Russia. Also, Alaska has got 3.2 billion barrels estimated of oil reserves in that region, and a whooping 2.8 million acres of the Beaufort Sea has been earmarked for oil exploration by the Biden administration just last month. Canada, of course, does its oil exploration in the Northwest Territories, not so much in the Arctic Ocean.
So please wind up in 1 minute.
Oh, yes. So we are now moving to extra-regional powers in the region. China is a major player in that place, and it has got the economic muscle to do that. So China is having its affiliations with mainly Russia on the economic as well as military front. And I talked about the distance that is reduced between the Atlantic and the Pacific. You can see Murmansk to Yokohama, the distance is halved if you come through the Arctic. The other country that we'll talk about is India. We have been there for a long time. We are the original signatory of the Svalbard Treaty since 1920. We have a research station. We have an observer status. We have an Arctic policy, and we have invested $50 billion US in the Arctic for oil exploration through ONGC Videsh. Japan, which was the first of the blocks, amongst the extra-regional powers to be in the Arctic, has been there since 1990, and they are committed to climate change and sustained development, and they also want to make Hokkaido as a primary maritime hub for transatlantic shipping. South Korea is another big player in the region, which is also extra-regional. Thereafter, there are many other countries like Italy and Singapore, 14 others. I'll not mention them for paucity of time. I will only conclude by saying that Arctic is a region which is increasingly being affected by global warming, and that is giving rise to access to rich resources in that region and poor governance that makes a heady mix of intervention and conflict. Of course, there may not be direct conflict as we know it, but a RAND report says that there may be some conflict in or because of Arctic by as early as 2030, and you can relate to this with the Middle East, where oil was first discovered in 1908 in Persia, now Iran, and we all know how many wars have been fought in that region. So it's an area, Arctic is an area that needs its the required focus, and think tanks and thought has to be given to where we are going in our policies to deal with the Arctic. So thank you very much for giving me the time. I'm open.
Thank you, sir, for your great presentation. Now we will have the question answer round.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Kapoor, any questions?
Well, I asked a simple question as a layman can ask, that if Arctic is badly governed, as you say, and it gives rise to many other problems, what are the immediate problems that Arctic Ocean region faces?
Yeah, so the main problem is because of climate change, there is the loss of sea ice, and that opens up the area for external intervention. So ships go there, they pollute the area. There is danger to the flora and fauna. But more importantly, because the sea route is open, there is possibility of economic development and resource extraction. That brings in greater problems to the ecosystem, which in turn enhances or increases the rate of global warming, because Arctic is actually a heat sink for the world, which will be lost if we don't look after it.
Yeah. Will we be successful in doing that, or America, or the countries will never unite and take a common plan or something and stick to it?
No, my reading is I don't think that will happen. Arctic is on a downward slope. It is going to become ice-free in the next 30-40 years, and therefore it will be very difficult to restrain people from going there, and resource extraction will continue, and so there will be only conflict in some form or the other in that region.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we will have Dr. Sakshi Singh for her presentation.
Hi, very good afternoon and good evening to everyone in India and Australia. At the outset, we would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the ICCETM, Monash University and Amity University for creating such a phenomenal platform for all of us researchers to be able to present our research work. With that, I will be sharing my screen for the presentation. Quick confirmation if you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible, Dr. Sakshi. You can proceed with your presentation.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ravneet. So to give a background of our paper, the title of our paper is Analyzing Key Dimensions of Warehousing That Affect Operational Efficiency in an Indian Perspective. I'm also joined by Dr. Amit Sahu, who's professor in Amity University itself. Now, warehousing plays a crucial function in contemporary supply chain management, which is serving as a vital intermediary between the stages of production and consumption. Within the Indian subcontinent, which is renowned for its flourishing and multifaceted economy, warehouses play a crucial role as vital components of the supply chain infrastructure. And further, Indian logistics are complicated by its diversified topography, emphasizing the importance of warehousing. So, moreover, warehousing dimensions in India are important due to regional differences and the requirement, and it requires for bespoke solutions to match India's specific operational environment. Now, therefore, this prepares for a full study of India's warehouse operational efficiency factors, wherein in this paper, we have attempted to learn about firms' specific difficulties and possibilities in the lively and fast expanding industry by studying the location, technology, workforce, inventory management, and sustainability. In the paper, we have also examined how Indian companies are adjusting to these difficulties to improve storage, supply chain, and economic growth. So for the idea of the factors which we have identified, they are categorically four. Number one is manpower management, inventory management, facilities management, and information flow management. For the existing body of literature on the subject of warehousing and its influence on operational efficiency inside organizations is abundant with valuable insights and strategic approaches which are recommending a lot of practices. While some of the papers we have highlighted here, but due to paucity of time, I will be skipping and moving to the research methodology and conceptual framework. So based on a comprehensive review of literature which have been available, it becomes apparent that the warehousing business is susceptible to the impact of several variables. Now, in the context of our research, we have discovered many elements that hold significant importance, namely workforce management, facility management, inventory management, and the design and control of information management. Now, this particular research aims to evaluate the influential aspects that have a substantial influence on the idea of warehousing capabilities, ultimately determining the overall operational efficiencies of warehouses. So hence a conceptual framework, which is on your screen right now, is designed to evaluate the hypothesis. We have been able to frame 5 hypotheses here, namely the management of manpower in organization do not affect organization's warehousing capability. Hypothesis 2 being facility management in organization do not affect organization's warehouse capability. And likewise 3, 4, and 5. Talking about the research methodology, the current investigation employed a survey method to establish a correlation between the elements under consideration and to evaluate the influence that each of these factors have on the operational capacities. The current inquiry is built upon the foundation of a descriptive research design. The survey consisted of 300 questionnaires that was administered to personnel affiliated with warehouse centers. Out of these, we had 232 questions were deemed valid and completed, resulting in a response rate of 77%. Moving on to the data analysis and interpretation, I will hand it over to Dr. Amit Sao.
Thank you, Dr. Sakshi. So basically, our data analysis, initially what we tried to do was the demographic profiling analysis, where we tried to figure out the age, gender, education, income, and years of experience of the people who have who actually were a part and parcel of the present, of giving the responses across to us. And we found that, majority of the people were in between age group between 30 to 40 who actually have responded it to the questionnaire to understand what are the key dynamics that actually affects the overall warehousing capability and operational efficiency of the warehouses. And we figured out that, as Dr. Sakshi mentioned, that there were 4 factors. So using the SPSS factorial analysis, we explored that there were 4 factors which basically affects the overall capability of any warehouses. And these factors were further being confirmed with respect to the structural equation model analysis, where we where you can see it on the screen that, on the left hand side, all the factor loading values have come out to be. And based on this, we confirm that these are the primarily 4 factors which has a significant effect and impact it on the overall capability. And the beta value also can be seen from here, and that actually enables us to accept or reject the hypothesis based it on the overall statement that we have mentioned it out for the hypothesis. And if you see the result of hypothesis from the overall analysis and the direct effect and beta value, except for one wherein information and flow management has a negative effect and therefore that has been rejected, else rest of the hypotheses have been accepted. So over to you, Sakshi.
So this research examined the various factors that influence the capacity and effectiveness of warehouse operations within the specific setting of Indian situation. Now, using a meticulous survey approach, we investigated the intricate relationship between these variables, namely the capacity of warehouses and the effectiveness of warehousing operations. Now, the research outcomes have revealed noteworthy observation, and we have put it out here that the findings not only enhance our understanding of the various factors influencing warehousing, but also have a significant consequences for organizations operating in this industry. And also the organizations may unleash the untapped potential of the warehouse for achieving operational excellence by acknowledging the crucial significance of people, facility, and IT. Concurrently, it is also important to comprehend the intricacies of inventory management, as this might reveal the alternate tactics and underscore the necessity for more sophisticated approaches. Some of the implications for the managers and the limitations we are concluding with are that for the implications for manager, the recognition of the utmost importance of effectively managing labor, facility, and IT of fundamental significance, the integration of efficient resource allocation, optimum facility layouts, and inventory management, and streamlines information system. It is vital in the context. The limitation of our study is that our study is limited to the applicability of specific sample that has been surveyed, and the caution has been exercised while attempting. Also, we feel that there's a cross-sectional nature of the data in the study imposes constraints on the capacity to establish causal relationships. So further study may potentially derive advantages from the utilization of longitudinal and experimental designs. Finally, the study did not explore the possible moderating effect that might potentially impact the connections that were identified. Gaining a comprehensive understanding of these variables has a potential to increase the practical application of our results. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's start the question answer round.
Yeah. So what is Sakshi? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
No, I have a little question. This is regarding, you say, factors affecting the warehousing or something like that.
Yes, sir.
You applied SCM and all. And how many factors were there? 4 only?
4 factors, sir. Manpower management, facility management, inventory management, and design and control of information.
After applying SPSS?
Yes, sir.
Initially, you had how many factors? Out of that, the 4, the variables, I mean, the units. How many units were there? This side?
Sir, actually, what we did out is, I'll just try to figure out in terms of, what exactly has been done out. So basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So around, 16 questions were being taken as overall understanding of the operational efficiency. And based it on the SPSS, communalities test, we could come out with 5 factors. And these 5 factors, again, we have tried to arrange it with respect to a framework.
No, there are 4 only here.
Yeah, these are 4. And if I have to say it from the operational efficiency point of view, then it comes out to be 5.
No, there could be. You are satisfied with your study? Are you satisfied?
Sorry, sir?
Study?
It is an empirical study.
Yeah, empirical, but are you satisfied?
Yes, sir, because, with respect to the other findings and the literature that we have figured it out, these all factors have a significant, impact it on the capability and efficiency. So we are satisfied with what the output that has come out.
No, I was wondering, this all comes under MCDM. Is that right? What is?
So please come again.
Multi-criteria decision making. MCDM.
Yeah.
Yeah, the question is, You can apply if you have a number of factors, you can find their weights and try to see what is the hierarchy, of
Right,
weights
sir.
of different variables. Then apply some. There is a two-way analysis we developed recently.
Okay. Okay, right, sir. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
We'll keep that note of it, sir.
Yeah, and then if you can shift to that or continue applying that, it's up to you.
Okay,
Uh,
sir.
One day I will maybe I'll see Sakshi and
Yes, sir.
will speak to her. Thank you for excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so
sir.
much, sir, for your valuable feedback. It'll help us improve in the next papers. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Sakshi. Now we will have Dr. Sumit Kumar Devnath for their presentation.
Yes, let me present the slide. Thank you so much. I hope my slide is visible.
Yes, sir. So your time starts now.
Yes. Once again, good afternoon to all the panel members. The research study which I have taken, the title is Study of Mediating Effect of Emotional Coping Ability in the Relationship between Emotional Intelligence and Wellness of the Nursing Professionals. Uh, why I have taken this study, the basic reason is in Indian context, if I say the wellness measurement in comparison with the emotional intelligence and the mediating effect of coping ability was very less studied worldwide, if I say. And in Indian context, the studies are very limited. I have now not found. I found the relationship between emotional intelligence and wellness. So that's why I've taken this study. I want to find out the impact of the mediating effect of the coping ability, how the coping ability acts in the as a mediator in the relationship between emotional intelligence and wellness. That's how we have developed the model, and we have tried to explore the effect of this mediating effect of coping ability. So if I talk about the basic introduction about EI, um, EI, emotional intelligence, plays a very important role. So it's a key factor in enhancing the wellness. If I feel that okay, the person is emotionally intelligent, then obviously he will be able to take the decision in a wise manner, and obviously it will impact the outcome, that is the wellness of the person. And as I already told, the healthcare sector, it's a very demanding job. And the people who are working as a healthcare personnel, they have to keep their emotional intelligence under check. And obviously, if the emotional intelligence is quite under check, then we can easily manage our wellness. So, moreover, we can also see the people with strong coping skill. If I'm able to cope with the situation, because in the nursing sector, nurses should be able to cope with all the drastic situations, because they are seeing lots of situations on daily basis, like birth of a child in one place and death of a person in another place. So they have to be emotionally managed, and coping ability, coping skills should be tremendous high, and managing all this thing and keeping wellness profile also high, it is very difficult. So in the present study, we have tried to understand, what are the various coping strategies are there, and how the coping strategies, if the nurses are able to manage a particular coping strategies, whether they are able to keep their wellness profile to the height or not. So if I talk about the objective of the present study, it is to examine the relationship between the emotional intelligence, emotional coping ability, and the
Sir, you have to
wellness.
wind up your presentation 4 minutes.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. So, on also in the present study, we have studied the effect of the mediating effect. So, let us quickly look upon the methodology. In the present study, a cross-sectional study methodology was used to measure the construct and to test the various hypotheses and their significant association. And for this purpose, we have used a self-reported questionnaires to collect the various data. And the present study, the nurses working in the hospital sectors were considered. And if I talk about the data analysis, we have used partial least square structural equation modeling using smart PLS, and bootstrapping process was used to assess the mediating effect of the emotional coping ability. And in the present, the research model was tested by in a two-step approach. That is, one is the measurement model, and another one is the structural model. So these two we have used, and the model was assessed using the direct and indirect effect, coefficient determination, predictive relevance, and Q-square effect size. And moreover, if I talk about the model assessment, these are the data which I have found after running the PLSM model. Reliability of the model, the reliability of the various variables were found to be within range. That is, it exists between 0.91 to 0.94. Moreover, the convergent validity was also within the very acceptable range. That is, the AV value, it is found to be within 0.50 to 0.65. And moreover, the discriminant validity of the model was measured by using the Fornell and Larker method. So the following table gives the Cronbach alpha composite reliability and AVE of the constructs. And this is the discriminant validity of the model using Fornell and Larker methods. Um, and if I talk about the structural equation modeling, the structural testing, the direct path coefficient of the structural model. So the direct path model between emotional intelligence to wellness, emotional intelligence to emotional coping, and the emotional coping to wellness. All the direct paths were found to be statistically significant. And moreover, if I talk about the direct effect of EI on wellness, this is also found to be statistically significant. Hence, we can always say that the relative importance of emotional intelligence in managing wellness, there is an impact of EI in managing wellness. And moreover, if I talk about the significant effect, the table shows that the direct effect between the emotional intelligence and wellness is significant. Now, the next we have tried to understand the mediating
Sir,
effect
please
of
wind up.
yes. Just give me a moment. Mediating effect of emotional coping ability in the relationship between the EI and wellness, and the final result shows that there exists a partial mediating effect of emotional coping ability in the relationship between the EI and the wellness. And moreover, the model was able to explain 41.5% of the variance. So, and also the VAF, the variance accounted for, was found to be 24.9, and which concludes that there is a mediating effect, but effect is found to be weak. And this is the mediating analysis result, which is presented in the table. And finally, if I want to conclude, the result of the mediation model shows that EI has a significant effect on wellness through emotional coping ability and interpersonal relationship. And finally, the mediation model shows that there is a significant variance of the 41.5% in the wellness profile of the nurses. And moreover, in computation of the effect size, EI was found to be a significant factors that contributes or promotes the satisfaction in the wellness profile. And moreover, the mediating effect explains how emotional coping and interpersonal relationship correlates in the relationship between EI and wellness. So as a result, this study significantly contributes to the literature of EI. And if I talk about the limitations and further scope, since the study was conducted in the hospital setup in Delhi region only, so the result cannot be completely generalizable. So as a further scope, we can study this a particular model in other segment also. And moreover, the study was cross-sectional in nature, therefore the causality cannot be studied. And moreover, due to the self-reported structure of the questionnaire, the study is further limited by the likelihood social desirable biases and all. And moreover, the data was collected only from the full-time registered nurses working in the large hospital setup. So as a further scope, the researcher can do the similar study considering the other domains in other sector, and they can verify this model in other segment also.
Thank you,
And
sir.
this is all
Let's
about.
begin
Thank
the
you so
question
much.
answer round.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No questions.
Okay. We will begin with our last speaker. This is Anjali.
Yes, I'm here. Let me share the screen.
Due to shortage of time, you only have 5 minutes.
No problem. Is my slide visible to all?
Yes.
Okay. So good afternoon, respected Chair, Dr. Kapoor and Dr. Singh, and the organizing committee and the member and each member who are present here in this presentation. So my name is Kunrapa Manjali Devi, a research scholar from Sada University School of Business Studies. So I'm here to present a presentation paper on the topic presence of glass ceiling and its contributing factors in IT and aviation, the track India. Here are the list of topic which I have covered in these presentations. Introductions. What is glass ceiling? As there is a shortage of time, I'm going to explain only my operational definition here. The glass ceilings, the metaphor referred to an intangible, unseen, unrecognized barriers and world that women encounter while climbing the ladder towards the hierarchy in an organization.
I request you to, if you possible, can we directly switch to your objectives?
Yes, sir, sure. Here is my objectives and research question. So objective to study the existence of glass ceilings towards the women in IT and aviation. The second objective is to investigate the organizational factors which contribute the glass ceiling. Here is my conceptual framework of glass ceilings, where it says we are investigating the presence and does not presence of glass ceiling in a particular sector which I have.
But how can you set an objective that presence or existence of a glass ceiling cannot be objective? It is just a merely presence of statement that this industry still exists in this specific segment. How it can be your research objective?
So here I'm just investigating the whether the glass ceiling exists or not in the particular sectors which
okay, you have identified with reference to the presence of glass ceiling industry in the service sector. You have identified 7 variables.
Yes, sir.
What is the literature behind these 7 variables? Any old model you have utilized, or anyone who has already researched on these created this sort of model, or what is the reliability, what is the validity of this model?
So these are this model I have constructed these models from the literatures and the gap which I have found out from the literature. This construct or these factors, no one has studied this all 7 factors in IT and aviation. So I have selected and.
What was the chronology of your literature?
So the first one was pay disparity.
No, I'm asking what is the time duration of your literature? Like from which year or from which duration you have included the literature? What is the chronology of literature?
From 2016 to 23.
Okay, 16 to 23. So
Yes,
before
sir.
2016, no research has been done in this field, glass ceiling.
Yeah, it has been done. Many studies has been done, but I was focusing only on the latest paper because I wanted to cover which the area which people have not covered earlier.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So here is my research methodology. The title, Presence of Glass Ceiling and its Contributing Factor in IT and Aviation. The types of research is descriptive and sampling units is IT and Aviation. Sample size 384. Sampling procedure, stratified sampling. The sources of data collection, primary and secondary. The data collected tools are questionnaire.
What was your population size?
Sorry, sir?
What was your population size?
Sir, it was 400, out of which I got a response.
No, dear. Population is total number of service industry who are the probable users of your glass ceiling industry. What was the your population size? Out of that, you only taken 384.
No, sir. These are the respondents of my questionnaire, sir. Sir,
You're
the
not getting my question. I am asking what was the population? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. How much population you have covered?
It is infinite populations.
Okay, and for infinite population, do you think that 384 people would able to justify, or you are able to generalize the model? How are you going to justify this 384 number?
So according to the standard coherent sampling size technique, it 384 is the standard size.
Do you have any citation for that?
Represent the infinite numbers of populations.
Do you have any citation for that? This number 384?
Yes, sir, I have in the paper. Yeah, I have a citation in the paper.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So the technique used here are chi-square test, odd ratio ANOVA, and post-hoc analysis with pairwise comparisons and Gams-Howell test. And the tools are SPSS, MS Excel. The first part is the demographic characteristics of this respondent. Here, the education qualification, marital status, the age of the respondents, and the tenure of the respondents has been described in this graph. And why it's not saying here the chi-square data analysis and interpretation. The chi-square has been used to check the existence of glass ceiling and its contributing factors in IT and aviations. H not null hypothesis. There is no significant association between types of organization, IT and aviation, and existence of glass ceiling. H1 alternate hypothesis. There is no associations between the types of organization, IT and aviation, and existence of glass ceiling. Chi-square, since the p-value is equal to 0.474, which is greater than 0.05, the level of significance failed to reject the null hypothesis. One can say that 95 confidence that there is no significant association between the types of organizations, IT and aviations, and the presence of glass ceiling. Thus, the glass ceiling exists in IT and aviation both. So odd ratio has been observed in this study to verify whether the glass ceiling exists or does not exist. Thus, the glass ceiling in IT is 1.19 times more prevalent in aviation since the p-value is equal to 0.455, which is greater than 0.05, failed to reject the null hypothesis. One can say that the with 95 confidence, the existence of glass ceiling is not significantly different in IT and aviation. So the ANOVA, after that, the ANOVA has been carried out. Here, the p-value is equal to 0.000, which is less than 0.05, equal to alpha, the level of significance, which reject the null hypothesis. At least two attributes of glass ceiling are significantly different from each other. That is, at the least two are not equally responsible
to wind
or
up the
contributing
session.
to the glass ceilings. These are the post-hoc analysis, pairwise comparison, and multiple comparisons with the factor which I have selected. And these visuals describe the factors which I have worked on these papers. So these are by application of ANOVA and thereafter conducting the post-analysis, the following sequence of the factors contributing the glass ceilings in the descending order can be presented as the motivations in managerial work, followed by low promotion rate, recruiting fewer women, to pay disparity, exclusion in decision making, less representation at board, and less recognitions. And so this the last question which I have asked, and I thought it is necessary to put in this presentation was: are you satisfied with the duration taken to promote you to the next position in the organization? So these are the responses given by the respondents, with 40.9% with the satisfied, and 27.3 with neutrals, and followed.
Thank you, Ms. Anjali,
Yes.
for your amazing presentation.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So as we conclude this conference, we extend our heartfelt thanks to our speakers for their insightful contributions and to the session chairs for their exemplary guidance. Today's fruitful discussions have been enlightening, paving the way for future advancements. Thank you all for making this event a resounding success. And special thanks to Gurinder Singh, Sir, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, the pillar behind the conferences.
Can I close now?
Yes, please.